Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about what happened at the Emmys. Dana, I know you got some excitement here. What do you got?
I do. Our guest is not here, and so I'm hoping. But there's a lot of excitement, honestly, about the Emmys. And it's funny when we talk about even paranormal. Like, speaking of that, just to kind of as a little tie-in, a couple of things. So, Watchmen on HBO. Regina King won lead actress in a limited series, and then Watchmen, the limited series, actually won best limited series. So honestly, when we talk about paranormal, I don't know if you could, but are you familiar, Stephen, with the Tulsa riots, the race riots that happened in Tulsa?
I
Are you
am.
familiar?
I'm not.
Okay, well, no worries. All right, so just as a little bit of something, just a little bit of history. So in Tulsa, in I want to say the 1920s, because of Jim Crow, black codes, and segregation hadn't quite happened, but segregation was naturally happening, and so black people were being kept out. So black communities in that area actually just built their own hospitals, movie theaters, like had the thing, and had a like super thriving, like
Community.
millionaires in the community, complete, and they just was like, okay, if you won't integrate, if you don't want us to integrate, fine, we'll be unto ourselves. And basically, a little bit like the Emmett Till story, there was an accusation of a boy whistling at a white woman, and they burned that whole community
Oh
to the
no.
motherfucking ground.
Oh yeah.
Like burned it to the ground. The last survivor of that period just transitioned like a couple of years ago, like the last survivor. But of course, there are generations, and I would love, because there were so many. There were I won't say obviously, but for the time, we're talking about mass graves. We're talking about uninvestigated anything and everything. Like, shit just got torched, and it was obviously tragic. And there was, as usual, no type of reparations, no type of repair, no type of accountability for wrongdoing, much like yesterday in Louisville. No anything. And so the Watchmen limited series kind of opens with a scene from Tulsa, like kind of like, because people don't know,
Oh.
like,
Okay.
even if you've heard of, obviously we've all heard of the Gap Band. Yes, Charlie Wilson. Anybody on here know anything about R&B?
Yeah, and
Okay.
also for those of you that have heard of it recently, there was a lot of people trying to bring awareness to this. If you've heard Juneteenth, right?
Right.
That was what was brought up recently in the news a lot. That's what this was about. So if you go look at right,
Right. So Juneteenth is like a couple of things.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. It is two things, right?
It's okay.
Yes.
And just, but since you opened it up, we'll just say it really quick. So emancipation, January 1 freed the slaves, but in Texas, the word did not get there, and they were not very forthcoming that the slaves had been freed. And when finally the word got to Texas, it was
Oh,
June
yes.
19th. And that's how
Wow.
Juneteenth happened. But the
I'm
Tulsa riot,
sorry.
oh, no worries. You know me, I'm like the walking encyclopedia. I want to educate. So, but I would love to, from a paranormal standpoint, like see if there is any way to communicate with any spirits that would be along those
Yeah.
areas, because those communities of color still exist. And the only thing I was going to say, as a piece of like pop culture, if you're into R&B music at all and you've ever heard of a group called the Gap Band, their lead singer Charlie Wilson like has gone solo, and he's kind of like become a phenomenon, in an older set. But they are from Tulsa, and like the streets, that the name Gap comes from Greenwood. I can't remember what the A stands for, and the P stands for Pine. But those three streets are the names of the three major streets that were in
Okay.
that community. So if so anyway, it's kind of it was a very cool thing, going back to the Emmy part of the conversation now. It was a very cool thing for them to start a storyline with a piece of history that many
Yeah.
people just don't know about. And sometimes not this group, sometimes it's hard to convince people of how, that there was injustice even at the turn of the 20th century, that it's not just like this idea that slavery was wrong, and
Yeah.
it was, but even at the turn of the 20th century, in the 19, there's just been shit. So anyway, so Watchmen was kind of a big deal. It was not kind of, but a big deal in that
That
regard.
was
So
amazing.
Yeah,
right.
I'll have to check it out. By the way, I got to ask all of you. I guess I just have to ask this question. But who watches The Watchmen?
Very good question. Who watches the
Watch
Watchmen?
it. That's
I
The
right.
didn't
Watchmen.
see it.
Yeah, right. So,
See, I haven't seen all of it either, but I know that question.
Right. It's a
Okay,
good
okay.
question. Yes.
This is what I did. I had HBO when Game of Thrones, was
Mhm.
happening. And then the series finale disappointed me so much and I canceled my HBO account.
I
I'm
still
not
haven't
getting
even
HBO
seen
Max.
the last episode because I
I'm
was so
still
pissed
upset.
that people said it was bad.
I was like, I don't
Wow.
want. I'm not giving you money, HBO. You had all that money that I gave you during my subscriptions, and you squashed everything. My hopes, my dreams for this shitty ending.
But we
Uh,
can't we see it on HBO Max? Because I haven't seen it. Sometimes
Yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
tragedies are a little tough for me to watch,
I've
but I'm
Yeah.
determined to see it.
I've never seen any Game of Thrones, and people
Me neither.
lose
Me
their
neither.
mind.
Me neither.
Oh well,
Because
the first two seasons are softcore.
well,
It's pretty fun.
yeah, my 5-year-old was growing
You're
up right as
nasty.
it was hitting,
It is.
and then I can't watch it with him. And if you know, children don't sleep. It's a common
Right.
knowledge. He's awake when I wake up. He's asleep when I go to sleep. I mean, he never sleeps. And now I've got a 1-year-old too, so
Oh my
I
gosh.
can't anything without a Muppet Baby on it. I don't get to watch. So.
Right.
You
That's
gave birth to a cyborg. I'm sorry.
I tell people from the years of like 2002 when he was born until at least 2015 when he was,
Yeah.
13. Like until they can do for themselves, you are sleep deprived. And even then, so any parent, any of us are sleep deprived for easily 16 years, like not
Yeah.
years, but we're sleep deprived for quite some time. So moving on, you guys, thank you for this. So Regina King, by the way, though, this was her 4th Emmy, so that was exciting.
She's incredible.
She
Oh,
is
yeah.
She's a powerhouse.
and someone who has been in the industry like the whole time that I think that any of you have been alive, and her and I are close in age, so I've been watching her on TV, and then now
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
films and all that for
Oh,
all of
yeah.
my life, and that's a super blessing. The big win for the night, Zendaya. Am I saying that right? Zendaya or Zendaya?
Yeah.
I've heard it both ways. Zendaya, and
Yeah.
So lead actress in a drama series, the youngest winner ever, like what, 21? What is
She
it?
deserves it. She's
Yeah.
been. I can't
Spider-Man.
remember.
We got to
the only reason I haven't watched Euphoria is because my cousin, is watching the show right now, told me, "Oh, if you want to know what the kids are doing in high school now, you gotta watch." I go, "Fuck no, I don't want to know what my kids are doing when they go to high school. I don't want to know that at all."
Well, you will. It's not. It will depend on you. So let's see. It will depend on you. I tell people. So that was exciting stuff. That was a big win of the night. I'll say this: lead actor in a limited series, though, went to Mark Ruffalo, who is definitely one of my favorites. You know what I'm saying? Like
He's the best Hulk. The best Hulk.
Like that, and that's what everybody says, and I agree. And just so anyways, it was nice. And also, he big up voting. I want to talk. Let me see. I'm going to talk about a lot about our winners of color, but of course about everybody. So it was exciting that also Yaha Abdul Mateen, who was in The Watchmen with Regina King, got a Best Supporting nod. Yep. Let's see. Moving on, Uzo Aduba. I can't say it, from Orange is the New Black, also got a supporting actress in the limited series. We're going to talk about Schitt's Creek in a minute, though, y'all. We got to talk about it, even though I can't say I watch it. I won't even pretend.
I'm gonna have to start. I haven't seen any of it.
I tried to get down with some episodes, but I didn't quite make it. Tyler Perry got the Primetime Emmy Governor's Award, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm not necessarily, I have much respect. I'll leave it at that. I have much respect. RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm not sure which win this is for them, but they've won quite a few. This wasn't their first win. And then let's just as a moment. Then there's many other moments to talk about. We as a follow up to our show last week, we had Ricky Hughes on, who was Dave Chappelle's producer for Sticks and Stones. They got 3, one of which was Stan Lathan for Best Directing. Very big deal, because Stan is definitely an OG in the game, and Def Comedy Jam totally brought Black comedy on the map in that way. Obviously, we know that there's so many greats, but
speaking of which, by the way, I was okay. Sometimes I'm really dumb, and that was one of my moments. When we were interviewing Ricky, and she kept mentioning Stan, I was like, is he related? Like, I kept clicking in my head, like, is he related to Sana Lathan? Sana, yeah. And sorry, see, I can't even pronounce that. But I kept thinking, and I'm like, why do I keep? And then it was confirmed, right?
That's her dad.
Yeah.
That's her dad. I mean, so we all know, because the thing is, like, she's a gorgeous girl, right? But back in the day, he was a looker. I mean, obviously, he's a grown man now, and he's her dad. But if you look at like kind of all the '70s photos, The dude was a looker. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. He was a looker. So, and then speaking of father and daughter by chance, Jasmine Cephas Jones and her father Ron Cephas Jones. Ron got and they got Emmys, I guess, a couple of days before. Guest appearance on This Is Us because he plays Sterling Brown's dad on that show. And then she, if everybody knows about Quibi, she was Best Supporting Actress in a series called Free Ray Sean, which is on Quibi, the great new short form streaming platform. And I can't get it all of a sudden. The guy who plays the lead in that was also the lead in If Beale Street Could Talk. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Schitt's Creek. I was on a show tonight with a bunch of Canadians, so it was just kind of like, so it was exciting. Like I forget. Here's the thing. Just as a total sidebar, it's very exciting stuff for me personally. In this time of pandemic and Zoom and all this good stuff, like we're all able to connect way more globally than we ever have before. And even if we're just talking about Canada, that's our neighbors to the north. Like in the comedy world, you know, we're all kind of mixing it up. And so Kelly Asia Zemeckis is someone who I've been on mics with, done, you know, flappers with, whatever, but I forget that she's Canadian. And so she hosted a show, Quarantini Comedy. And like, I think I may have been one of the only Americans on the show. Everybody on there was, you know, her native, you know, Canadians. So now that brings us to the great Dan Levy, the great Eugene Levy, actually is what I really want to say. I have much respect for Dan, but for big ups for the dad, because I'm probably the only one on here with enough birthdays to know anything about SCTV. And SCTV.
I know what that is.
Okay, so you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was one of the, you know, he was one of the actors, one of the folks on there, and that's kind of where his career started. And here's the thing: I had no idea, even at the time of SCTV, that he was Canadian. Like I think, you know, the arrogant American in me always assumes that if you're speaking English,
he worked with the late great John Candy.
Armed and Dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And SCTV is the birthplace of one of my favorites. Yeah, one of my favorite funny guys who was funnier aside from his persona, Super Dave Osborne, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he start on SCTV?
I believe so.
Here's the craziest part, though. Okay,
I wasn't sure. Now I'm probably wrong twice in one goddamn episode. I'm hanging my head in shame.
Here's the craziest part, though. I love Schitt's Creek. I love it. It's on replay. It's my background noise. Like Bob's Burgers and Schitt's Creek are usually playing in the background. I could be doing something else, but they're playing in the background. But I'm currently writing a comedy pilot. And I was trying to look at several pilots for inspiration. Mm-hmm. The original pilot for Schitt's Creek is actually online. You can't find the actual pilot, the one that aired, but the original one is on there. It's horrible. It's
Stacey, say that again. So is there a pilot for Schitt's Creek that we can see?
Yes. So the one that we can see is the horrible one. The one that I could not believe Dan wrote. I'm sorry. If you guys pull it up, if you ever have a chance, I suggest you to, actually don't ruin, because it's going to ruin your perception of the show if you haven't seen it yet.
Well, that's probably the show before it got hit with the Punch Up team. You know, the Punch Up team
definitely
takes a good story and they make it hilarious.
But you know what's incredible though is that, and I was trying to do my homework. I was trying to look at different pilots, but even the one that aired was actually, it received a lot of negative feedback. It did not do well. Critics did not like it, but it became such a powerhouse show. Like it's not going to start out great right away, but it can become. And I think this was like a full testament of, give us a second, watch what we can do, and bam. And Catherine O'Hara is, oh my God, she's incredible.
Home Alone, man. The mom in Home Alone.
Right. We were talking about that in I had an acting class this morning, and my teacher was talking about Catherine O'Hara. She said,
she's amazing.
I mean, anybody that's watched what's called Best in Show.
Oh yeah,
any of that stuff. I mean, that it's just. By the way, those movies. What is it? It's who's his last name's guest. Anyways, the director. Most of those, like Best in Show, like over half the script is just improv. It's them saying, "Here's your character, go do it." Which that downward facing dog scene in the very beginning. Mwah, mwah.
Are you talking about?
I'm talking about Best in Show, which Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy are both in. They've been in a lot of things together. Yeah, it's.
I haven't seen.
Okay.
Oh, it's very good. Very good dry comedy. Just nice.
It's insane though, because it's also like an underdog type story that it has, because Annie Murphy, who plays Alexis, my favorite character on this show, she actually said that was her last audition. She was done. She was like, if I don't get this, I'm quitting acting and I'm going home.
Oh, wow.
Like, she was done. She was like, I've been working all these jobs. I've been trying to stay afloat. She caught the show, and now she's in. You know, who doesn't know her? I really hope to see her out there. But the fact is, you can have a string of bad luck, and something can just happen at that very tip where you're questioning whether what you're doing is right or wrong. Like, it's such a great underdog story. And again, my favorite character, like, I can quote her so many times. Like, I had multiple people be like, Stacey, I think this is you. I think that I really think this is you. And I'm like, do you think I'm that dumb? Yes.
People told me I was Andy from Parks and Rec, so.
Oh man, I mean, you know, and now look at him. Look at what he's doing now.
I do want to put something.
What is he? He's Star Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, no, not Star. Yeah, is that his name in what's it called in oh god, Guardians of the
Galaxy.
I need more beer. Sorry, everyone.
And you know who his fiance is, right? Unless they've already tied the knot. Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter.
That's his wife, and they had a baby. You're right.
Oh, never mind.
So that's why he got fit.
Baby. Yeah.
That's why he got fit. You can't marry my daughter until you lose the pounds. That's what happened to him. Got it. Okay.
Well, I wanted to say really quick, Eddie Murphy won for his appearance on Saturday Night Live.
That was great. Dude, yes. I love seeing Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood again. Holy shit, I've been missing that.
It was brilliant, and the way that what he did with it was really brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
And,
hello, boys and girls.
And just you know, and this was, just for the record, this was his first Emmy for Eddie Murphy. So we're very and that's and just as a sidebar, SNL has now won 83 Emmys, more than any other series in TV history.
Yeah, that's history right there.
That's just a little fact.
You know what's crazy? SNL is probably Game of Thrones for comedians, from what I've heard.
But you do less sex scenes. Way less.
Hey,
way less.
It's just totally insinuated.
Right.
Maya
Rudolph. So this was her second. So she won outstanding.
Oh yeah.
So I won outstanding guest actress in a comedy series for her appearance, and she was, and here's, I mean, did anybody watch when Eddie hosted? Just for the record, they really bolstered the cast, right? Because that particular night, like, Maya is not on SNL anymore, but she came back to do her Kamala Harris. So I think it's very cool. And then, everybody came on stage. So like Eddie was on stage, Dave Chappelle came on stage, Chris Rock came on stage. Like, there was this kind of like the goats of comedy of, and I'm going to say comedy. I don't want to always say black comedy. I just say comedy.
There was another dude too, the heavyset guy.
I'm trying to remember,
Tracy Morgan.
I'm trying to remember.
He's not heavy. I mean,
he lost some weight.
Hey, I gotta say something though. Maya Rudolph should have got an award for her performance in Idiocracy. That she was really good in that. Oh man, that. Hey, no, yeah. What you do is you give me $50. We'll meet later. Oh Jesus Christ, such a great part.
Donatella Versace.
Yeah, good stuff.
But you know what's hilarious though, speaking of who came on the stage with Eddie Murphy, when Dave was on the stage, he was like, fuck this, I don't even want a beer, I'm here to support, and he had a cigarette, because Dave is always smoking, like, he goes to a comedy store, there's always a cigarette in his hand.
Right.
Every single time, but
I wish we should have pulled it up for screenshotting. So it's Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle, Tracy Morgan, and of course, Kel or Keenan, sorry, came out and got a little love on it. You know, we know that he's, you know, I feel like
Good
he's
Burger, original Good Burger.
I'm still trying. I feel like now here's the thing. I feel like he's somebody that's growing. I don't necessarily know that he's in that class. No disrespect. I love him. Much respect. Much respect.
I think he deserves so much more respect. He's been in this industry.
He's one of those guys.
Long.
Yeah, he's thought of as dependable. Like he can show up off
I realize,
and just knock anything out of the park.
Black Jeopardy, baby. That's all I gotta say.
Total love for him. Total love for him. But I'll tell you the truth, and this is just to speak. But this is much respect for him because he did bring the funny last year. There's no doubt he has chops, but this is just something I'm going to step out and say this. It's not, you know, just because we're in a great moment. You know, there was when SNL came under criticism for no black women. I'll just say this in love. I would love to sit down with him. He was no fucking help. He was just like, there's nobody that's ready. And I'm like,
so he stayed quiet, is what you're
like,
saying.
I mean, but he actually said those words. I would have loved it. I would have loved it if maybe he just kind of held that a little bit. And again, much respect because I think he's good. Like you said, what has cemented him, in my opinion, is Black Jeopardy. I mean, amongst many things. I can't say that that's the only thing.
But it goes back to SNL being Game of Thrones, and this was a common thing. Remember Julia? Oh, everyone know who Julia Louis-Dreyfus is, right? Of course, Okay, she has said, she was on SNL a really long time ago.
Well, I've had enough birthdays. I saw her in real time. I saw her and Brad Hall in real time. Like they're now married, and people are like, "Well, how?" I was like, they were both on SNL back in the day, like when I was a kid. Yeah.
But she mentioned she hated SNL. She to this day, she strongly states she hated being on SNL because it was a dog-eat-dog world and people were fighting to get their scripts and have their sketches played out. They were everyone's just competing nonstop. And I'm not going to say who because she asked me not to, really mention it, but she's a current SNL member. She said it's still the same thing.
Wow.
Oh, very sexist, and they play favorites, is what I heard.
Very much, yeah. It's.
Hey, they fired Norm Macdonald, and then his speech when he came back was beautiful. By the way, his speech. Oh, look up Norm Macdonald's when they came back to host after they fired him. Mwah. By the way, one thing I got to mention, and we're not going to play it because we're not sure if we'll get a strike for this.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Chappelle's speech for winning at the Emmys. Holy shit, that was good. Holy shit, because he's been he was being slammed for being edgy on a couple of his things, for speaking his mind, and I think that the way he did it, he was trying to be respectful while being honest, and he looked at just let me see if I could paraphrase. All you that were complaining, see this? Right. Shut the fuck up.
I saw that part. I'm going to go back and watch it, but I saw that. Thanks, Dan. I saw that soundbite. I did.
Steven, what did you want to say in reference to SNL? I know you were trying to say something.
A big thing about SNL, think about some of your favorites like Sandler and Chris Rock. They all got fired.
Oh, gosh. Oh, geez. Oh, Lord.
They didn't leave.
Right.
Fired.
Which,
and they were guys who were like headlining the show. And someone at, executive just says, we don't like Chris Rock anymore, fire him. And
it's making our sponsors uncomfortable.
And they ask, like, why did you choose to leave? And they're like, no, we didn't choose to leave. We got fired. So they'll fire really great comedians that are, like, headline. I'm really into comedy, actually. I listen to XM Comedy. I'm this close to a lot of my...
Buy some tickets!
I don't want to go into all my history, but I was a pro wrestler for 20 years, and a lot of my wrestling buddies are comedy and stuff now, and they all want me to do it. And I'm usually the biggest goofball in the room most places I go, so everyone tells me to do it.
Man, in this time of COVID, let me just say this, because we're all doing our thing. There are mics aplenty. You do not you write down some ideas and you go, and there are just plenty of, whether you decide to go to Flappers, we're all big Flappers, but I'm also, I host and I participate in a lot of very independent, like smaller mics that are extraordinarily safe. Like honestly, like I feel like I can, I feel like I'm throwing bows now. However, and people have always blessed me and said, "Oh, you're ready, you're ready." But I stayed in safe rooms as long as I could because I wanted to feel ready. And so I said that to say, because, and even when I auditioned the first time at Flappers, I was like terrified. And then I got up in there and I did. I was like, oh, this is all right. We throwing bows. I'm good.
So, an interesting thing to say about that is, I did talk about the fact that I just went through an audition and got in, and one of the things is that Stefan helped prime me before. He's like, make sure what you talk about for 2 minutes is a bit of yourself, whether it's fictitious or not. Mm-hmm. So I went outside that. I'm usually the wacky one-liner. I love Stephen Wright and, guys like, Mitch Hedberg. Yeah. But I said, why not? I'm going to do a little bit of a bit where I'm talking about myself. Mostly lies. But it actually worked out. And basically that's the advice I would give anybody. I know I'm just starting this year, but anybody out there
last week no, I'm teasing.
Only since July actually, because of that guy right there. Sorry. but the whole thing is that basically a lot of audiences want to hear you say something about yourself that either gets them to identify with you or make them feel better than you for a little bit before you say the other jokes.
Yeah, they want to feel you.
Well, that's the old line. You're supposed to always start with, don't you hate flying? And everyone hates flying. So everyone immediately goes, yes, we all hate flying.
I wouldn't recommend that.
I'll say this. What you're talking about, Stephen, is getting people on your side. And so that's always a yes. But what you want to get them on your side with is something that is with your strong point of view about you. Like that's the difference. So like the question is a great one. So yes, get them on your side, but get them on their side about you, not about, the general. And all of my mentors, and I would say my co-mentors and my sisters who I call us sisters in arms. They're just like, that's what Flappers wants is the great, what about you? Who are you? They want to know who you are.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy though. The first 2 minutes, of course, have to be something that says this is who I am. Like I'm just celebrating I haven't gotten deported yet. Like
I went into
shh, don't tell anybody about that.
No, I went in to Stacey's point. I went in with my first time visiting a dispensary 2 in 1 day.
Yeah,
and just talked about like what my experience was because of what I was going through, and literally, my testimony, I'll say it like that, is I was on the audition. The audition was at 7 or whatever. I auditioned. And before I could get off the audition, they sent me a booking thing. Like I was booked for a show before I could get out of the actual audition room.
Fantastic.
So I just want to encourage you that be strong, be good. Like I said, we out here, we all throwing bows now because we put in the work. So just find a mic. You and Stacy are cool, and
hit me up on Facebook, man.
Yeah, hit us all up.
I'm
hosting a mic on Friday. I'm hosting one.
I'll do it.
Dana is.
Yep. They moved me from 6 to 8 though, so I'm hosting the 8 o'clock mic. So anyway.
Nice. I mean, if you watch any of I try to throw a little bit in my ghost hunting. I try to hit a little comedy in there.
Amen.
Because no one does it. No, everyone is so uptight in ghost hunting shows, and they're like intense in like ghost hunting. And I try to like keep it sort of light, and I'm past pro wrestler, which it's a long story. We could talk about another day. And my current job is I do practical effects. So I do. I actually worked on 3 Emmy winners. I worked on Mandalorian, Dark Crystal, and Picard. So I won 3 Emmys myself.
I think we need to bring you back as a guest to talk about that because that's insane. And Baby Yoda is life. Okay.
Oh, we were making Baby Yoda. All we were focused on was the Mandalorian armor and how cool it was and awesome. Oh, here's a Baby Yoda. Okay, here's a Baby Yoda. This Mandalorian is going to be awesome. We didn't even know, and because I'm in pre-production, so we just I helped make the puppet. I didn't know the script and how important Baby Yoda was. I assumed it was going to be a camera pan by and there'll be a Baby Yoda. How cute. But I didn't
I'm sorry,
know.
did you help create Baby Yoda? Is that what you're saying?
I was given Baby Yoda's hands and feet, and I made them real. I helped
Wow.
I molded Baby Yoda's hands and helped making them foam and his little feet. And I got to see the puppet's eyes moving beforehand and all the test
What
footage and all this
what
stuff.
what are you doing for Halloween? Maybe we gotta get you back on.
If you look at
Wait.
my TikTok, I put up my house decorations. I
Uh-huh.
dressed my kid
Did
up as
you?
Chucky and let him run around the house.
So when making Baby Yoda, did you actually hit the neck too hard and give him that speech impediment?
Oh, get out.
No.
Is that a little dark? I'm sorry, that's a little dark. I guess you're
We were
saying verbs in the
so
wrong place.
Right.
we were so focused on the Mando though, we didn't realize Baby Yoda was gonna. And then to see something you helped, build. I mean, I didn't design it or come up with the concept or write the script for it, but I helped make the real Baby Yoda that you take. I think I have one sitting over there.
And
Um,
it's
Oh
premiering
my
on Disney
god!
Plus,
Where's my mic?
the second season of Mandalorian on
I
October
know.
30th.
Oh my god! We have to talk about that closer to the date to talk about
Yeah, we should
the.
do a whole segment.
I hope Glow is watching right now. That you're one of our fans who I don't think she can comment at the moment. She would love to see that. Love to know that we had one of the fathers of Baby Yoda on our show.
Yeah, we
and
definitely should bring you back before the
Right.
Mandalorian season 2.
oh, and I
Uh,
worked on season 2, and I know everything that happens.
Woo! So
Oh my
for
god!
our audience, so Stephen, for the audience, tell people the difference between practical effects and special effects. I think in visual, like people have heard the term special and visual effects. I don't think everybody's heard the term practical effects.
So practical effect this is Freddy Krueger's face from Nightmare 2. It's a
Right.
real mask.
Whoa!
It's made of latex. This is a practical effect. A
If
digital
you
effect is this.
uh,
There's nothing there. A digital effect is done by a computer. So
Okay.
I've helped make. I got stuff all around, but I help
Freddy
make
Krueger is
like
life.
anything that that the actors can hold or that Ghost is set. A lot of what it is now is suits and armor and stuff. Like Dark Crystal, we made all the real Skeksis and Gelflings and stuff, and I helped make all
Beautiful.
those.
Didn't they win an
And
I
Emmy and they
Picard
just
was
got
all
canceled?
makeups.
Wait, hold
Yeah.
on, Stacey. Wait, hold
well,
on. Wait. What did you say, Stephen? Hold on. I didn't hear him, Stacey. Say it again. You made all
Oh,
the
and
for Dark
Picard.
Crystal.
Yeah, and Picard
yeah,
was all. We did all the makeups, the different makeups for the Captain Picard show. We helped mold
damn
all those.
good. Hey,
Um,
one thing about that. Sorry. You were talking about special effect, the different, practical and physical, right? Or I'm sorry, which were the differences? Practical and those. Anyways, the movie Mama. I don't know what you think about that because they had the mix of Peter Skarsgård in
yeah,
actual makeup. The only thing that was digital was the hair. The rest of the movement was him pretending to
yeah,
be that contorted thing. That
yeah.
was one of the scariest, most awesome movies. I mean, thanks to the ending, I'm not going to rewatch it. Jesus
The
Christ.
ending is kind of sad, though,
Hey,
right?
it's Guillermo del Toro, like the orphanage, all that. Like his endings, you go, "Am I happy or sad? What the fuck did you do to me?" Just like Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah,
God damn it!
I've worked on I worked on both Pacific Rims. I worked on Shape of Water. I worked on
Mm.
Antlers. I've worked on like 6 Guillermo movies.
Oh,
Oh man.
Wow.
Oh my
Guillermo is the
god!
man, dude. Like
He's
modern
wonderful.
times. Yeah, he's the modern one of the modern Spielbergs in my opinion. Like
Yeah,
His
hands down.
Oscar shows he is absolutely.
he's
Right.
incredible.
And
Right.
he
Yeah.
and he doesn't get enough love at all, dude. In my opinion,
Well, and
like at
Really?
all.
and to
In
kind
my
of go
Oh
opinion,
yeah.
at the
to
Oh
go
yeah.
full circle to what I was saying earlier, me and Brian from my team got to work on 2020 Ghostbusters. So,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
for
the new one
Oh.
me,
with Ivan Reitman's son, right?
yes,
Yep.
got to everything.
With the
So
guys
for
from Stranger
me
Things.
Oh,
to go all the way back from
Can't
me as a
wait.
kid watching Ghostbusters, wanting to be a Ghostbuster, and then get to work on Ghostbusters.
oh man. So
Wow.
wow.
so I got to ask you, is
Oh no, I'm
Slimer
with
as
you.
sticky as I think he is?
I can't say anything.
Oh
Ah,
yeah, he's on an NDA for that one. Yeah, he no.
All right,
ah.
this is what we'll do. Like, comment below if you have any questions. We're definitely going to ask him to come back, and maybe we can convince him to take us on, a ghost tour or something. But Come on, if you have any questions, just throw them in right now.
Yeah, I'll take you guys to a ghost hunt, and you guys get me doing some stand up.
There you go.
Oh,
There you
that's
go.
easy. Wait, you mean with an audience? I'm sorry. No.
I'll do it on anywhere. I don't care. It's just
Hey, gotta
I have
start somewhere.
I have my toes in so many ponds. It's I'm just nervous to like start another hobby. My wife gets mad at me. She's like, I looked on your computer and you had a magic school open and you had a juggling class and you had an improv class. Like you're not starting any new hobbies. You got to stop something else before you start something new.
Oh yeah,
Kidding.
I'm a death metal musician that has put out
Yeah.
an album recently, and then I say, hey honey, I'm doing comedy. She goes, yeah, you had to pick something else. Oh well, go do it.
Yeah, I'm always heading down new avenues, trying new things.